there is something in your life right now that you know is not working. Not kind of not working, but clearly, very visibly has not been working for a while, not working. And you're still holding it. Not because you're stupid. I don't think you're stupid. I don't think it's because you can't see it. I think you fucking see it. I think you see it clearly. You have probably described it clearly to at least one other person who nodded because they see it too. You have the information. You have the information. You have the perspective. You have, in the honest moments, the specific clarity of someone who knows exactly what the fuck needs to happen. And you're still holding it. Maybe it's the job that stopped feeding you 2 years ago, or the relationship dynamic that has the same conversation on repeat with the same result, and you keep telling yourself it's going to change. The version of your identity that used to be who you were and is now who you perform or pretend to be, because the real version is still being built. And the old one, at least, it feels comfortable. It feels familiar. The business model that made sense when you started it and has become the thing keeping you from the thing. Or maybe, oh, this is a good one. Listen, bitch, maybe it's the opinion of a specific person whose approval you've been optimizing your life around for so long you've forgotten whose life you're actually living. You know what it is. And here is the question to sit with from the very beginning so it does the work it was supposed to do. Why are you still holding it? I'm not asking rhetorically. I'm asking you actually, why? Why are you still holding this? Hey, you guys, welcome to Listen Bitch Podcast. I am Brandon Lynette, voice coach. Your mess is your message. And I want to be direct from the start. The attachment you are carrying, the thing that you know is not working, that you're still holding, it's not a character flaw. But staying where you are is a choice. And the consequence of that choice is that version of you that is supposed to exist on the other side of putting it down. You keep delaying your shit. Who you're supposed to be keeps getting delayed. And every single day that you hold the thing that is not working is a day the potential you're sitting on stays exactly where it is. And that's what pisses me off. You're sitting on your potential. I am genuinely pissed about that. Not at you, but just the fucking waste of it. You know how many people would do anything for a do-over or to have your life at this moment? All the shit you're going through, someone is praying for your life. They're praying for your blessings. Someone out there wishing they had the legs that worked. The vision, the hearing, the opportunity, the story, the past, the history. Someone is praying for your life at the specific preventable waste of a person who has everything they need. God equipped you with everything you need to build something extraordinary. And instead, you're using both hands to hold on to something that stopped serving you long before today. And this episode, we're going to figure out why. And then we're going to put it the fuck down and we're going to move on. And before we go too far, today's episode is brought to you by Super Patch. You guys, I'm going to talk about Lumi. Okay. Zen 2, I have Zen and Peace on. I was trying, listen, I went live on TikTok today for the first time in like a year. I found some help. I am so excited. I found some help. And I'm going to connect with this guy and figure out, like, do we burn down my page? Do we start over? What can we do? But whatever I'm doing now with TikTok, I will not be doing it alone. And so I thought, why not just start now? Like, rip the Band-Aid off, go live. And it's terrible. I'm not having the greatest time. I don't have followers. I don't have the audience anymore. I don't have anybody active. And so I'm super nervous already. And then I got nervous recording. So I did put on Peace, but I'm using the Lumi and my skin is really starting to look great. Okay. I am not a person who could do needles. I just can't do needles. And I know everyone's like 60 sections. You have tattoos. First of all, a tattoo machine is a very different thing than someone sticking a sharp piece of metal inside of me. Okay. I can't do it. I've had to be like basically sedated before every C-section, so they could put the spinal in. I'm terrified of needles. You know, it is a whole thing. So Botox and I, I don't think that we're ever going to be friends. And cheers to my Botox girlies. Like, you have balls that I don't have. Like, that's not the kind of bravery I can sit with. So, anti-needle here, but this Lumi patch, okay? Because I care about my age. I'm about to be 50, right? I don't want to look like a shrivel up raisin. I care about my skin. So I'm doing things, like drinking the water, staying hydrated. But this Lumi patch is really, it's got me glowing. I love it. But Zen is also a good one. Like for this episode that we're talking about right now, that's my real one. Like Zen's my real one. It's what I reach for when I need the clarity that kind of cuts through the noise in my head. My brain is very neurodivergent. Okay. I've had the fucking diagnosis. I don't need to say it's so stupid. I think putting a label on shit is so stupid. We all have a brain that works specifically for us. And so I'm not trying to be like, I'm in this club and I have this thing. That's it. It's just neurospicy. My brain is not like everybody else's. But the Zen patch, okay, especially for this episode, it's that focus present, nothing between me, truth kind of attention that this topic needs. So I'm glad I have that on, okay? It's drug free. I'm anti pharma. You guys know that I'm anti-pharma. There are no ingredients. It is a vibrotactile technology just telling your nervous system that it is safe to be present with the hard shit. Okay? That's it. It's safe for me to be present with the hard shit, and that's what we're in. Okay? So, back to the show today. Attachment. Why you keep holding the thing that is holding you back. What is actually happening right now? Your brain does not distinguish between things that are good for you and things that are familiar. It treats familiar as safe and it treats unfamiliar as a threat. And it will defend, your brain is going to defend the familiar with everything it has, including very convincing arguments that are going to be posing as wisdom because the familiar has one thing the unfamiliar does not, and that is evidence of survival. You survived it before. The brain knows what to do with it, and the brain will choose the known bad over the unknown good almost every single time. The technical term is status quo bias. That is a documented cognitive pattern in which your brain systematically overvalues the existing situation relative to alternatives, regardless of whether the existing situation is actually good. The brain adds a penalty to change, and then it charges a premium for staying. Not based on the quality of the current situation, but based purely on the fact that it's current. And this is where it gets genuinely wild. The longer you've been holding that thing that's holding you back, the stronger the attachment becomes. It's not because the thing has gotten better. You're suffering. You're pissed at where you are. You're not happy. It's because the neural pathway associated with it has gotten deeper. It's more grooved because you've been in that cycle pattern for so long. It's more automatic. The identity has incorporated it. That self-concept includes it. So releasing it now does not just mean letting go of a thing. It means updating the architecture, revising the self-concept, producing that very specific, psychological, deeply uncomfortable experience of a brain whose familiar has been removed and is trying to just recalibrate. Like fucking Siri, right? On a map, like recalibrating, recalculating, recalibrating your brain, okay? The experience is what people call loss. Even when what they are losing is something that was hurting them. That's what we do as a people. Even when that thing that we're putting down is the weight that has held us back. The brain grieves the familiar regardless of whether the familiar was good. And the grieving is real. It's temporary. And on the other side of it is a freedom. It's the specific freedom of a brain that has updated to the new model, that has new data, that has built through serving the loss of the familiar, the evidence that the unfamiliar, you're going to survive that too. Neuroplasticity, baby. I'm going to say it and every time I have a conversation with you, because your brain is not stone. It changes in the direction of consistent new input. Let go of the old thing, give the brain something new, wait for the recalibration because it's always going to come. It comes every single time. And listen, the general version of this conversation produces approximately zero behavior change. Like if I just generalize this, you bitches aren't going to do shit with it. Okay. What I want to talk about, I want it to land in your body. Let's talk about your job. You know, the one that you've been talking about leaving. Oh, the conversations I have of people who hate their job. I'm going to leave, Brandon. I'm going to leave my job. You've been talking about leaving it for 18 months. You know that job where Sunday evenings have a just heavy air to them. And it has nothing to do with Monday's workload and everything to do with being somewhere your soul stopped endorsing. You know it is not the destination. You've known it for a while and you're still there. Not because you cannot leave, but because you know what the job is and you do not know what comes after. And the brain takes that asymmetry and it turns it into a wall. The known dissatisfaction's on one side of the wall, the unknown freedom is on the other, and the brain keeps choosing the dissatisfaction, right? Because it's known. Because it's known. Maybe you're in a relationship dynamic. Not necessarily the relationship, but like that pattern that's been running between you and another person for years. Bitch, you overgive. They undergive. And you've been hoping the ratio changes for how long? And it's not changed because dynamics do not change unless someone changes them. There is no magic wand that comes and says, oh, boom, everything's good for you. We've changed everything. You're holding the hope that it fixes itself. That hope, that's the attachment. And the hope is costing you the relationship you would actually have if the dynamic changed. The old identity, the old identity, the version of yourself that made sense in a previous season, or, the role you played, the person you were to a specific group of people, the self concept built in a context that no longer exists. You're still performing it, not because it's accurate, because you do not fully have the new one yet, and the old one is at least something to hold on to in the gap. But what's happening is that it's blocking the new one because you cannot fully inhabit both simultaneously. You have to get on one or the other when it comes to the fence, one side or the other. Sitting on it does nothing for you. Actually, it's exhausting because your energy to stay balanced, one foot in, one foot out, one foot on the other side, you're fucking yourself. And that approval, there's like this specific person or parent or mentor, or maybe it's a community or an audience whose opinion you've been optimizing your life around for longer than you can say out loud without feeling shame. It's that attachment. The attachment is the approval. And the life you're building for the approval is not the life. It's not your life. You are just performing. That's not real. On the inside, that's not real. I've been running an interview show for about 2 months now. It is over 100 conversations now. And the pattern I keep seeing, regardless of industry or background or level of achievement, is this. Almost everyone is holding something they know they need to put down. And almost no one can really explain why they're still holding it. I don't know is a great answer to everything. A woman I sat across from recently, she built the successful business in an industry she stopped caring about 4 years ago. Not a struggling business. It's a good business. It's a good business. Real clients, she's getting revenue, she's making money, real results. And she was going through the motions of it with just flatness of someone doing excellent work in the wrong thing. And somewhere in the conversation, she says something, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. She said, I keep doing it because I built it. And putting it down feels like admitting I built the wrong thing. That is my point of attachment. And how many people are doing that with relationships? Like, I put all this work in, I can't put it down. Even it's not the right relationship for you and that job because you've been there for so long. My husband does that. He hates his job, but he's not willing to start over. And so that's the thing. What you're not changing, you're choosing. You don't get to complain about what you choose. It's acceptance. Accept it. What you're not changing, you're choosing. And it isn't the attachment, it's the meaning. She's not attached to the business. It's the meaning she assigned to putting the business down. The putting it down means I was wrong. And that's the story that her brain starts generating to protect the attachment. Because if she put it down, she would have to face the truth that she spent years building something that was not the thing. And that truth, not the thing itself, the meaning of the thing was the actual weight. So I asked her, what would it mean if you built the wrong thing and it was still okay? Right? If the years were not wasted, but they were just preparing you? What if that's preparation? What if you ask yourself, like, what if I've just been here so I could prepare for the next thing? All of my failures in the past 10 years have prepared me, launched me to find my fucking superpower to become your voice authority, to become someone who knows I can get you where you want to go because I've been there, did that, done that. Didn't get the gold star for suffering, but bitch, I went through it. If the business gave you the specific knowledge and credibility and the real world experience that the right thing actually requires, what if it was just preparing you? And she said, it would mean I'm not behind. I'm just ready for the next thing. She's ready for the next thing. That simple reframe is the one that releases the attachment, not the decision to let go, but the decision about what letting go means and what we're going to tell ourselves about it. Reframe the meaning and the grip releases. Because the grip was never about the thing. It was always, always, always about the story of what losing the thing would prove. And maybe it's not even just your story. Maybe you're afraid of the story that other people are going to tell about that thing and how people are going to judge you. Because fuck people. Last time I checked, I don't get paid for opinions. I don't get paid for other people's judgments. I don't get paid for shit when it comes to other people. And I'm going to tell you, because this is the rebellion season, the systems that run things in our world need you attached to the job, to the role, to the identity they assigned you, to the financial products you bought into, to the institutions you joined, to the media narrative you've been consuming. Attachment is the mechanism of control. A person who is unattached, who is willing to put down what is not working and build something different, is the most expensive version of a human being for every system that profits from predictability. The corporate structure, okay, needs you attached to job security because attachment to security makes you manageable. You will tolerate conditions you would never accept if you did not feel like leaving was more dangerous than staying. That calculation, the specific terror of the unknown that keeps people in jobs they hate for decades, it's not accidental. It is engineered. The benefits, the pension, the seniority, the 2 weeks of vacation that barely begin to compensate for 50 weeks of slow suffocation. All of it depends. And all of it's been designed to make the cost of leaving feel higher than the cost of staying. All of it is feeding the attachment. All of it keeps you in the system. Big pharma profits from the depression and anxiety that chronic attachment to the wrong shit produces at scale. The person who has been in the wrong job or the wrong relationship or the wrong identity for years develops symptoms. The symptoms get medicated. The medication manages the symptoms well enough that the person can continue tolerating the situation that was producing the symptoms. The system that produced the problem sells the solution to the symptoms, and the attachment remains. The profitability continues. You are a useful idiot. Let's talk about my deep state that I hate. The corrupt structures operating behind the governments, behind the institutions, behind the systems that shape what is considered normal and acceptable for realistic people in your position. Those structures need the population attached to the existing order. Attachment to the current system is what makes the current system sustainable. A population of people who are genuinely willing to put down what is not working and build something different is a population that cannot be managed or controlled. We the fucking people, bitch. And an unmanageable population is a specific outcome every corrupt structure is designed to prevent. How dare we get along? How dare we get our house in order? How dare we? How dare we? Your attachment is not personal weakness. It is the successful delivery of a system built specifically to produce it. Recognizing that does not make the letting go easier. I just want to say that. But it does make the holding less about you and more about the structure. And that matters because you're not broken. You are just captured right now, and captured is fixable. There's a specific attachment that has cost people a lot of their life. And there is something that can happen where this can be released for a long time, longer than my my client would admit at full quantity on this podcast because some numbers are just embarrassing. Okay, I'm trying to respect privacy and still be able to tell the story. She was attached to the version of her work that was built on other people's frameworks. Okay, other people's language, other people's approach to the thing she was actually supposed to be doing in her own voice, with her own story and her own specific mess as the material. And she borrowed that shit because it felt safer. Building inside someone else's framework meant the responsibility for the framework was shared. If it did not land, the framework could absorb the failure. She had a place to lay blame. Either way, the fully exposed version of her, the one with no borrowed scaffolding, no approved language, no framework between her and the audience, that version never had to be fully accountable for itself. That is an attachment to borrowed safety, to the specific comfort of not being fully out there on your own without the scaffolding. The day she put it down wasn't a big event. You know, she didn't burn down the frameworks like your girl here. I lit a match to everything. You don't have to do that. She just stopped reaching for them first. She started reaching for the actual thing, the experience, like that specific truth that was hers and nobody else's. And she let it be what it was without the borrowed structure around it. And the response was different, not just in size and quality, to the specific kind of connection that only happens when the real thing is present instead of the managed version of it. The scaffolding had been the attachment, and the attachment had been protecting her from the exposure that the actual work was requiring. And that exposure, you guys, specific, vulnerable, nothing between me and you exposure of putting the real thing out was the thing that changed everything for her. It's been the thing that changed everything for me. That vulnerability and the thing you're attached to, it lives somewhere in your body and it's been living there long enough that it has its own postal code. You know, that tightness that comes over you when someone asks how the job is going and ask, you know, you have to manage that answer. You can't just tell the truth. You manage it in the weight in the chest that is present when you are in the conversation you keep having that never goes anywhere different. Ever, ever, ever. And the fatigue, it's not about sleep. There is a very accumulated, I've been carrying this shit for a very long time and I'm fucking tired kind of fatigue of a person whose nervous system has been holding the familiar long past the point where familiar was serving the life. Your nervous system knows the attachment is costing you even when your conscious mind is still negotiating. The body always knows first. Always. The resistance to the honest conversation. Oof. The low grade dread of the environment that you return to. There's a specific relief of not having to be there for a day and the very heaviness of having to go back. That's not normal stress. That's the body reading the situation accurately and the body's communicating with you in the only language it has. That's how it's talking to you. The letting go when it happens is not just psychological, it is physiological. And this client's whose business she stopped caring about said something about, it was like a week after she made the decision to transition out. She said she slept differently, not more, differently, like something that had been running in the background just draining her battery just stopped. The processor that had been dedicating resources to maintaining an attachment freed up for the first time in years, and her body could feel that, and her body could actually rest. That rest is available to you, and it's on the other side of that shit you have to release. And you have been one decision away from it for longer than you know. Y'all, if this episode is naming that specific thing that you've been holding, that thing you know and you have known, and you're still holding, share it with a person who is in the same place right now. The one who is holding their version of the same thing and has not been given that language for why yet. Share it out. They need this today. And then make sure you guys are subscribing. And bitch, leave a review. Very unselfish thing. That's how I get the show out there. Stars are cute, but just write some words. Da 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 da. Like whatever you want to say, I can handle it. I had this guy on my interview show. It's been a few weeks ago. He was attached to this outcome for 7 years. Not a person. It was an outcome, a version of success that he had set his goals upon. He had a particular metric, very particular level of recognition in the field that he decided was the measure of whether the work was valid. So 7 years, every decision had been run through that filter. Is this moving toward the outcome? Does this advance the metric? If not, it was not worth doing. The problem was that the work he was actually doing, that specific, genuinely impactful work that was emerging in the space of the metric, did not care about was the real thing. And he kept minimizing it, the important shit, redirecting resources away from it, deprioritizing it because the metric said it did not count. He built an attachment to an outcome that was strangling the work the outcome was supposed to actually validate. When I asked him what the work would be like if he released from the metrics, he laughed at me. Okay. He said it would look like what he had actually been building in the margins. Okay. That thing he kept calling a side project. That thing he'd been trying to be the main thing for years while he kept telling it to wait until the metric was hit. The metric was never going to be hit because the energy required to hit it was being consumed by the attachment to the metric. That's the loop, and it is a loop. And that's the trap. And the exit is not trying harder towards the metric. The exit is releasing the metric and building the thing that was always the actual thing. And he's building it now. And it is the thing. What are you calling a side project? That is actually the main thing. Y'all, he said it clearly and he said it early. Whoever tries to keep their life will lose it. Whoever loses their life will find it. Words from Jesus. And that is not a metaphor about death and resurrection exclusively. That is a daily instruction about attachment. The life that you're trying to keep, the familiar version, the one built around the job and the approval and the old identity and that borrowed scaffolding, that life held too tightly becomes the thing preventing your actual fucking life. The keeping is the losing, the releasing is the finding. Jesus modeled it. He released the comfort of heaven to come here. He released the safety of anonymity to do the public thing. He released the approval of the religious institution to speak the true thing. He released the natural human desire to not be in pain to complete the assignment. Every significant moment of his ministry involved releasing something that would not have been comfortable to hold. And the releasing was not passive. It was not resignation. It was the active, eyes open choice to put down the thing that was not the thing in service of the thing that was. That is not weakness. That is the most powerful form of agency available to a human being. The decision to release what is not serving the calling in order to be fully available to what is. You have been holding something that is not the thing. And the thing, the actual thing, the one has been working while you hold the other one, has been patient, but it will not wait forever. But it has been patient. Put down what is not the thing and pick up the thing. That's the whole fucking instruction. And name it today. That specific thing, not the category, but the actual fucking thing. Write it down in the exact language. Is it the fucking job? Is it the dynamics? Is it the old identity? Is it the approval? Is it the outcome you have been attached to? Whatever it is for you, name it with precision because the brain cannot release what it has not named. And you have been calling it by a lot of other names for so long, you have to call it what it is. And that is step one of actually putting it down. Then write the story of your attachment that it's protecting. What does putting it down mean according to the narrative your brain has been running? What does it prove? What does it cost that the brain is preventing as too expensive? Get that story out of your head and onto paper where you can actually look at it. Because on paper, it always looks different than it does inside the loop. It looks less inevitable, less accurate, more like the status quo bias doing its job, like the actual truth about your situation. And then, and this is the shit that requires something. Identify the one action that would be true to the decision to release. Not the full release necessarily, the one action that says, I am choosing the thing over the attachment. The conversion is going to be scalable. You're going to be able to see this. Maybe you need to, maybe it's the plan you've not been making, right? Or the chat you've needed to have with someone. Maybe it's that. The first step toward the thing that has been waiting while you held the other one. One action this week. I'm asking for one. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be messy. It's going to be scary. I just want you to do it honestly. The brain updates through action. So give it one action. Okay? I'm going to leave you with one last story from my interview show. This lady, okay, was attached to a marriage for 3 years after it had ended. Not the person, I'm talking about the marriage, the identity of it, the version of herself that really existed inside that relationship, okay? The specific role that she played, the way she was understood in that context, the future she'd been building toward that the ending had made impossible. She had been carrying that attachment, not even as grief, like she'd done that work, but just an unspoken refusal to be fully in the life that came after. One foot in the ended chapter, not enough of herself available to create a new chapter. She had a calling, a powerful, needed calling that the people closest to her could see clearly, even when she could not fully access it herself. Everybody can see your potential. And every time the calling tried to fully land, it found the attachment in the way. The version of her that was supposed to carry the calling forward was still partially located in the ended chapter. She's still holding what was over. And she described the moment to the attachment released not as a decision, but more like an arrival. She'd been in a conversation, one of the many I've had, and something in the exchange just cracked something open. She said she felt the release in her chest before she understood it in her mind. Like a grip that had been there so long, she stopped feeling it as a grip. It finally opened. And what was in the hand that had been holding it was not the thing she expected. It was just space. Just space. And in that space, almost immediately in the same conversation, the calling arrives with a clarity and a force. Like it was waiting just outside that grip. That's it. She's building a show now, her own podcast. The one she was always supposed to build, with the voice that she always had, same as you, the same story, the same message. You have this, but you can't ever access that while one hand is occupied. And the people who are finding her work are finding it in a state of recognition that she could not have produced from inside the attachment. And that attachment prepared her for her mission now. There is just this beautiful, uncompressed quality of a person who is finally fully present in the life that they're in. It's tangible. You feel it. You feel the confidence. You feel everything. And You just are ready to hang on every word. You have that power inside of you. You have it. You have also something in your hand that is not the thing. And the thing is waiting just outside that grip. The space that opens when you release is not emptiness, it is availability. It is that I'm ready right now availability of a person who has finally freed up both hands for the work that they were always supposed to be doing. I've watched so many people in the past however long just arrive at versions of this moment. They have the conversations that crack something open and the reframe that releases the grip and that physical shift that happens when attachment finally goes. And every single time on the other side of it, the calling is right there. It's never been distant. It's right there just waiting. I'm going to make this very clear. That calling is right there for you too. Literally just outside the grip. Why don't you guys check the show notes? Get resourced at my website. Come work with me. Let's build what has been waiting.